Welcome back to Plague Scythe Studios, everyone. Ryan here. Today I'm finally hopping on a recent bandwagon when it comes to VST plugins, checking out what has to be one of the best sounding digital products I've ever had the pleasure of playing through. This is the Fortin Nameless suite by Neural DSP. I'd imagine most of you have already heard quite a few things about this plugin, but I thought I'd go ahead and throw out my 2 cents anyway, since this is on a 14-day free trial available to everyone, although for me that ended up not even mattering. So this VST is based off of Mike Fortin's signature Meshuggah amplifier, and I'm guessing that there's some legal issues with using Meshuggah's name on a third-party VST plugin. This isn't made by Fortin, this is made by Neural. It's using Mike's designs though. So that's probably why we don't see a name across the amp. But if you're familiar with Fortin, if you're familiar with Meshuggah, you don't need to know or need to see that name on the front to know who this is emulating, and the sounds speak for themselves, I would say. So I kind of heard a few demos of this around the pre-release time. I kind of have a thing against pre-orders for digital stuff. If there's like a limited amount of things and you kind of have to do that to obtain it, I'm kind of okay with that. But pre-ordering a digital product is always stupid to me, even if you're saving 10 bucks. So I held off until there was a demo and I knew I would like it. So I did, but a number of guitarists that I respect made this VST sound absolutely incredible. The downside is they generally make everything sound awesome they demo, so I kind of wanted to try it out for myself to see if the hype was real. And upon demoing it, a couple things happened. First of all, I bought it within 15 minutes of trying it out. Second of all, I was genuinely upset at how good this is. Not so much that because of this product itself, it makes me upset of how much there is a gap between this and so many other VSTs I've tried. To name drop a few, I'm very impressed with Mercurial products, and that's a very small team. I think these are pretty damn close in quality, but there's so many built-in VST plugins or amp simulations and a lot of programs I've tried that just don't even come close to this in the feel, in the tones, in everything, the usability. With that said, let's take a brief overview of the plugin itself. There are 3 screens you're going to be working with primarily. You have a boost section, the amp itself, and then the cabinet microphone impulse responses. With the boost, you're limited to 1 pedal, and it's really the only one you need. This is the Fortin grind pedal. At least it says it's the grind pedal, and I'm pretty sure it is, but the weird thing here is that Meshuggah actually has their own signature Fortin 33, which is very similar to the grind. It just has a couple more decibels of boost available, and the EQ curve is just a little bit different, but they both do basically the same thing. They roll off on the bass, they give you kind of the tube screamer mid bump, although that section of the EQ kind of differs between the grind and 33 to my ears. I think the 33 is a bit more pronounced in the mid section, and then you kind of got a flat high end response, and that's for bringing out the definition in down-tuned guitars or even extended range guitars. And that's something you'll definitely want to use if you're going for that Fortin, just glassy, harsh treble attack in the guitar. So the cool thing about this amp though is you don't need it for all things, and even you can dial it in on an 8-string where you don't. So generally use that, and I'm fairly certain this is actually the grind pedal, but it has the 33 knob instead. So it did kind of throw me off at first. The amp section is a like-for-like recreation of the single-channel 50-watt Meshuggah signature, which is basically a Marshall Plexi from hell. This includes 2 gain controls, bass middle treble presence, master volume, and even a pull gain on the master volume. And because you have all these gain options, you can dial this in from Meshuggah all the way back to like a classic Marshall Plexi, which is super cool. Of course, you only have 1 channel to play with, but this makes this way more versatile than just, oh, it's a gent amp. No, it can do a lot of stuff, especially when you mix in and out with the grind pedal. You can go from modern tones to 90s death metal to 80s thrash to 70s blues rock to 60s. I mean, it can do a lot of sound. So even if you're not a super heavy metal guy, definitely check out this plugin. Just don't dial it in the way a lot of people are going to. The tone stack and master volume control kind of does the Marshall thing where 0 to 10 isn't that dramatic of a difference, so you can actually use all the settings, which is nice. Don't be afraid to leave bass at 0 or bass at 10, depending on what you're going for. Generally, all settings are usable, which is cool. The master volume control makes the amp a little bit more saturated the further up you go, which is very authentic. And if you use the pull gain pot, then it kind of shifts the tone stack just a little bit, pulls the mids down a little bit, and gives you a lot more gain to play with, which is a great option if you just need to send the amp just over the edge a little bit. The 2 gain controls are what really sets this amp apart from most amps out there. Most amps just have a single gain control. A lot of Fortin stuff has gain and then low frequency and high frequency gain, which kind of act as like a built-in boost pedal itself, to where you'll be able to roll off the lows and dial in the highs. This kind of has the overall gain thing in gain 2, and then gain 1 is kind of your built-in low frequency, high frequency. It's almost another grind pedal, sort of. The further you go, the more glassy it gets. So you might want to dial that back if you are using the grind pedal and find the equilibrium between the two. Because of that, you can get practically every Marshall sound under the sun in this plugin. From Clapton all the way to Chuck Schuldiner, Meshuggah, all the way back to AC/DC. This amp does pretty much everything, maybe except for super, super cleans, but you can roll off your volume and tone knobs and get pretty much there anyway. Are you really looking at Fortin products if you want super clean though, would be my next question. So super versatile amp, and it makes people like me who aren't going to pay over $3 grand for a single channel amp a little bit happier. Now, the amp modeling in this plugin are among the best, if not literally the best I've ever heard in a VST, but that wouldn't matter at all if the cab IRs weren't worth anything, but in this case, they definitely are. Unfortunately, this is kind of where that one-trick pony thing comes in. The amp and pedal are amazing as a platform to be able to dial in all sorts of gains and tones, but when it comes to the cabinets, it's a little bit one-dimensional. And I think that's because these are based off of G12 T75 speakers. Not for sure on that, but they are Meshuggah's speaker of choice and kind of able to get the Meshuggah sound immediately. So I'm guessing that's what they were. Fortunately, this plugin allows you to load your own IRs, so you can still stay within one VST and have everything there. But it does give you quite a few microphones. You can pan them, you can dial in different positions, distances, levels, and all that's great. One cool feature of this is that because it is a stereo program, you can actually pan one to the left, pan one to the right, put in 2 DIs through it, and have everything come out in stereo still. So if you want to double track guitars, you've one VST, you can do that. Unfortunately, it's only one microphone per side, so you kind of still have to double it up if you want 2 microphones. If you are using your own impulse responses though, say you got that shiny new Friedman collection from Ownhammer, then that's probably not going to be an issue for you. But it's great that they do allow you that option. Although in my case, to get the signature Fortin sound, you really don't need it. And I would hope like hell it is, because this plugin comes in at 99 euros, which for us Americans is between 115 and 120 bucks after tax. You could get it 10 euros off if you were going to pre-order it, but again, never pre-order digital stuff. Is it worth it? I think so, but admittedly, I'm getting spoiled to a lot of high quality plugins for either $100 or less that are offering maybe 4 amp models, really damn good amp models. Maybe it's 1 amp model with 8 channels with these built-in effects and other cabs and other features that just make the value higher. If it doesn't sound as good, then, you know, what is that value then? But subjectively speaking, you're paying quite a bit for the tone you're getting. However, you gotta look at this in the bigger picture. Yes, it's a bit expensive for 1 amp in my opinion, but the real amp is over 3 grand. 33.33 to be exact, because it's Fortin, it's handmade, it's point-to-point wiring, it's made with new old stock, yada yada. Of course it's expensive. So if you're like me and would kill to have that amp, then this is the cheap way to do it, and I'm happy to pay the price for it. And because, like I said earlier, everything in this is a great platform to build off of. Don't think I won't be using that grind pedal with other VST plugins or using other overdrives on this amp and all that good stuff. This will definitely be used in upcoming covers, at least one for sure. And I've had as much fun playing through this as I have even stuff like the AX8. So great plugin. I just don't think, and for everyone, it's going to reach that critical value that some people need. But if you just need a couple really good sounds or are a Marshall freak and like a really long span of music, then this could be right up your alley. Although the other bad sign about this is that this kind of obsoletes my Randall Thrasher, to tell you the truth, because holy shit, I can get this thing sounding better than that. So, don't know. But yeah, love this plugin. This is coming from a guy that paid his own money. This is not a sponsored video. This is not a pre-order, you know, check this thing out. No, I paid real money. I like it enough to tell everyone that I think it's worth it if you are a fan of the Fortin sound, because this is about as cheap as you're going to get. It's expensive for a plugin, but it's still less than half than one of Mike's pedals. So in reality, it's really not all that expensive for most of us. Honestly, the only other semi-negative thing I can think about this plugin in general is the iLok activation management. Although I can't blame them. iLok I don't like because of the hardware usage, but they just let you manage your keys online. There's no other kerfuffle with having a dongle or anything like that. So I don't like having other bloatware that I have to sign in all the time. But if I work my ass off to profile and capture a real circuit in digital form, then yeah, I'd want to be a little bit protective over piracy and that kind of stuff too. So I can't blame them too much. I just like some other VST's implementation of it and would rather not use iLok. But that's just me. I still think it's worth it. So yeah, hopefully you'll be hearing this in the near future with some covers and all that kind of stuff. And go check it out, the link below. I think it is far superior to some other plugins that have been coming out recently. Not to name names, but I think they're better. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.